Okay, let's face it. In the business world today, things are changing faster than ever. And, just surviving? That's not really the goal anymore. We want to thrive. So how do we do that? Well, the answer is a really powerful strategy called forward-looking innovation. It's all about building the future you want, instead of just reacting to whatever comes your way. Let's dive in and break down how it all works.
We've all heard that old saying, right? Change is the only constant. But let's be honest, today, that's not just some philosophical cliché. It is the absolute, fundamental reality for pretty much every organization out there.
Which leads to the big question, right? How do you actually stay ahead of the curve? Because just keeping pace isn't going to cut it anymore. The real goal here is to build a business that isn't just reacting to things, but one that's genuinely resilient and always thinking about what's next.
So here's how we're going to tackle that. We've got a clear roadmap for this explainer. First, we're going to size up this constant threat of change. Then, we'll define what we mean by forward-looking innovation. After that, we'll dig into its two main pillars, the internal foundation and the external engine. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a blueprint you can actually use to build resilience.
All right, first up, the constant threat of change. You can think of this as the why behind everything else we're about to talk about. Because in today's world, standing still, that's pretty much the fastest way to fall behind.
And just think about all the pressures piling up on businesses. You've got technology advancing at lightning speed, you have global dynamics that can shift on a dime, and market demands, they're changing all the time. When you put all that together, it creates this constant risk of disruption. It makes innovation not just a nice-to-have, but an absolute necessity.
So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's this really powerful idea called forward-looking innovation. And really, it's all about making a conscious shift, moving from a reactive stance, where you're always playing catch-up, to a proactive one.
So here's the core of it. This isn't just about randomly coming up with new stuff. It's the proactive pursuit of ideas and technologies that are going to create serious value down the road. It means looking past the problems you have today and really imagining what's possible tomorrow. We can actually break this whole concept down into three core characteristics. First up is anticipation. That's all about predicting future trends. Second is strategic alignment, which just means linking all your innovation work back to your main goals. And third, and this is a big one, transformative impact. We're not talking about small tweaks here. We're talking about aiming to completely redefine markets.
And the payoff for all this? Well, it's huge. This becomes your secret weapon, your competitive advantage. It helps you adapt to whatever the market throws at you. It makes you stand out from the crowd. It opens up brand new ways to create value. And maybe most importantly, it builds that real, solid resilience you need to weather any storm.
Okay, so that all sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? Well, it all starts with what we're calling Pillar 1, the foundation. And this is all about building the right kind of culture inside your organization. Because here's the thing, you can't just go out and buy innovation. You have to grow it from the inside out.
And that growth, it has to start at the top. Leadership can't just pay lip service to innovation. They have to actually model that behavior themselves. They need to provide real, dedicated resources. We're talking time, money, the right tools. And this is so crucial. They have to create a safe environment where people feel like they can experiment, try new things, and yes, even fail.
And that idea right there, it's a total game changer. I mean, just think about it. When you start seeing failure not as the opposite of success, but as a super valuable step in the learning process, well, that's when you unlock your team's courage to go after those really bold new ideas.
So when you boil it all down, it's about a massive mindset shift. It's moving away from a culture that fears risk to one that manages risk intelligently. Moving away from punishing failure to one that learns from it. And getting out of those silos to truly encourage collaboration. That right there, that is the foundation you've got to build.
Okay, so once that foundation is solid, it's time to build the engine. This is Pillar 2, and it's all about looking outside your organization. It's about powering your innovation with external forces, because let's be real, the best ideas aren't always going to come from inside your own four walls.
And this is exactly where something called open innovation comes into play. Think about partnering up with other companies or startups or even research institutions. That gives you access to skills and tech you just don't have in-house. Or what about crowdsourcing? You can tap into the collective brainpower of your customers and the public. Both of these strategies just blow the doors wide open on your innovation potential.
Now, the other huge part of the engine is, of course, technology. And we're talking about some real game changers here. Things like AI and machine learning for predictive analytics. the Internet of Things to make your operations and products smarter, blockchain for secure, transparent transactions, and even augmented reality to create these incredible, immersive customer experiences. These aren't just buzzwords, you guys. These are seriously powerful tools.
And finally, that engine needs fuel, and that fuel comes from your customers. This customer-centric feedback loop, it looks simple, but it's so powerful. Step 1, collect insights from everywhere. Surveys, social media, you name it. Step 2, analyze that data to spot the trends. 3, you act on it, you iterate. And 4, and this is the step so many people miss, you let your customers know how their feedback made a difference. That closes the loop and builds incredible loyalty.
All right, let's pull all this together into what we're calling your resilience blueprint. We've talked about building that solid internal foundation. We've fired up the external engine. So what's the big idea that ties it all together and makes it work?
Here it is. This is really the most important thing to remember. Innovation isn't some one-off event. It's not a project with a start and end date. It is a culture. It's a continuous, deeply embedded process that becomes part of your organization's DNA. And that is how you build true, lasting resilience and get ready for a future that, let's face it, none of us can fully predict.
And so, that really just leaves us with one last question to think about. It's not about wondering what the future is going to do to you. It's about asking, what future will your organization, with this blueprint in hand, choose to go out and build for itself?